we discussed about the concept of marketing and also the strategy, right? What is strategy? What is marketing? And also we completed the four P's in marketing and how we are supposed to, integrate four P's in marketing, right? So four P's in marketing is basics, right? It has to get integrated as per the target audience, as per the product that you are offering. Yeah, so you have to basically integrate your four P's, right? So that is the marketing mix we call. The marketing mix has to get integrated. For any marketing campaign activity or tactic to work, it has to be properly integrated, right? So that is about the basic fundamentals of marketing. Yeah. So again, as we highlighted, marketing starts with consumers always, right? Everything that we do, we keep consumers at the center, right? Consumer centricity is paramount important in marketing. So what does that mean? That means like, we have to always keep a track on consumers, their behaviors, the changes happening in consumer environment, right? So that those kind of things like we have to continuously keep a track. Yeah. If you lose a sight, especially about the changes in consumer behavior, right, and changes in their needs, you are not going to do a good business, right? Yeah, you are not going to do a very good business. Your business will definitely come to a halt if you don't, adapt, adjust, or change according to the changes happening in the consumer environment. Yeah. So how do you know? How do you keep a track of your consumers, their behavioral changes, right? Because it's not one consumer, right? There are many number of consumers. Yeah, in a B2B marketing, it could be one or two or few customers, right? In B2C, it is going to be many number of consumers. And how you are going to keep a track? You're going to monitor their behaviors. Isn't it a daunting task? Yeah, it is going to be a daunting task. It's not that easy to keep a track of everyone. However, today's environment is allowing you to keep track of all the consumers because the environment is connected. We are talking about digital era. We are in a connected world where each and everything that we do is recorded somewhere, right? In some form in the world, right? For example, if you walk down the street, right? If you're going on a jogging, yeah, so you might get captured, like, one is through, CCTV cameras. And also if you are carrying your mobile phone, if it is like, location, the tag on, right? Location on, GPS on, yeah, you will get tracked. If you go to a supermarket for shopping, right? Do a transaction. Again, you get tracked. Yeah? And go online and make a purchase, you get tracked. You go to a restaurant and give a feedback about the restaurants, when you get tracked, right? So everything that you do today, there is a way of tracking. Yeah. So since we are in a digital era, we are connected, and we have our buddy with us, like that is the mobile phone. So is the buddy, right? So the mobile phone has the AI, that is your avatar, right? So today is not only you, like there's another person next to you and alone with you, doing things, right? And your mobile phone is learning you. your device is learning you. Your computer, the laptop is learning you. Yeah, it's called machine learning. Right? So whatever you are doing, like it's learning, knows like the moment that you log in, things that you are doing. Yeah, and your device can describe you today. Yeah. So we are in a connected world. Yeah. So meaning we should be able to always track the changes happening in the consumer environment. Yeah, should be able to do that, right? So Sri Lanka now currently we are talking about digital economy, right? How you are going to digitize everything, like countries like Dubai, UAE countries, like European countries. I think they have already gone to a different level, right? So they have already connected. Yeah, guys, give me a minute. Janta, මේ මට බැරුණා මේ මම ඔයාලට දාලා ඉවරලා කෝල් එකක් ගන්න. හරි මම පොඩි ලෙක්චර් එකක ඉන්නේ. ඒක ඉවරලා මම ගන්නම්. Okay. Sorry guys, sorry about it. So if you don't know what's happening in consumer environment, what are the trends, right? How consumers are changing and what are the changes in their needs, their behaviors, I think you are fail. You are a fail. Yeah. You are failing in your duties, and you as an organization is not living up to the changes, right? So then you need to have a mechanism in place, a system in place in your organization to track all those things happening in consumer environment, right? So there are analytical tools, right? There are many softwares, like systems already available for us to get the informations, collect information, save them, right? And also analyze time to time. Yeah. There are applications, systems today are giving us real time information. Yeah. So technology has already gone to a next level, whereas certain companies is lagging behind. Yeah. Okay. So with that note, we are moving to the second, chapter, that is planning, right? Planning, marketing plan. Yeah. Planning in an organization, like, they have corporate planning. Yeah. Uh, so where, like, the senior management or the board of directors, they get together and they decide, like, what they are planning to achieve next year or next 3 years. Yeah, so that is the planning horizon. Yeah. With that, like, so they set the corporate objective. So this is where we are going to take our organizations to, right? These are the key goals that we are planning to achieve, right? For organization, it could be like, get into number one positions, or maybe doubling the business within 3 to 5 years times, right? Or maybe like expanding to different geographies, right? Going global. So those are kind of like corporate objectives or corporate goals for any organizations, right? So then these corporate goals comes down to the functional level, right? Or maybe boils down to functional levels for different departments. Like they are getting their goals. Those goals are aligned to the corporate goals. Yeah, those goals are aligned to the corporate goals. For example, like if the organization is planning to double the business, double the size of the business in 3 years' time, then the marketing department will get a target. Okay, so you have to increase the current market share by X percentage, right? Then there will be like another department probably like, marketing, finance together. It could be called as the mergers and acquisition department, right? Where they'll be given like, tasks to explore opportunities outside the organizations to, acquire businesses, right? Because doubling the business is not a job, right? It's not a simple task. You have to always think about the opportunities that you have in the environment. Yeah. If your industry is not growing, you will not be able to double the business, right? If your industry is not growing, by only, driving market share, you will not be able to double the business, right? So therefore, you have to think about other ways and means as to how you are going to increase the size of the business. Yeah. Then, so probably for supply chain department, they will get certain tasks, goals, like, getting ready for volumes, right? Increasing the capacity of the factory, the plant, right? Because, doubling the size is like, you need more volume, right? The current volume that you have may not be adequate for you to, double the business. Then in that case, supply chain department will have to do a capacity planning. Yeah. And the human resource department. So they will get, goals like, keeping the best talent in the organization. Because when you are in your journey to double the business, that you can't do with, set of, fresh employees, right? So there has to be a set of, seniors, well experienced, best in class, talented employees in your organization. And they should have a mechanisms to even hire, some of the, best talents from the outside, right? So those are the kind of, goals that they would get, right? Sales department, like, so you have to organize your sales structure, your distribution strategy, and also like, as to how you are going to improve your services to your customers. Likewise, you know, different departments are getting their goals, which are aligned to the corporate strategy or the corporate goals, right? So I use the word strategy here, the corporate strategy. Yeah. It is all about like, how you are going to achieve or create customer value in the longer run and taking your organizations to a different level in the longer run. So that is the corporate strategy, right? So for you to do that, you have to do a plan. We'll say some person in the organization has a big dream of doubling the size of the business in 3 years, right? It's a big dream. However, if he has not communicated that to others in the organization, right? Do you think it's going to get materialized? No, it will not get materialized, right? It will not get materialized because it's not only you who's going to, do that change. In an organization, there are people, yeah, you are getting things done from people, right? So then you have to communicate what you are planning to achieve, right? Okay, so how this is happening? Like, no, this is happening through a planning cycle. Planning cycle. Depending on the industry and also depending on your objectives, organizations do have a planning cycle. It could be every 3 years you have strategic planning, or maybe every year you have strategic planning, right? Or maybe like, in certain organizations, like, so they have strategic planning every 5 years, right? Good old days, it was every 10 years. Now it came down 5 years. Now we are talking about 2 to 3 years because things are changing rapidly. So you can't have, 5 years or 10 years long plan. Um, you know, since environment is changing, consumers are changing, technology is changing, then you have to continuously change your plans, right? So therefore, it's better to or it's safer to have 2 to 3 years a planning cycle. Yeah. And then every year you can do another cycle just to refresh your plan or do some adjustments, amendments, right? To the plan. And some organizations now doing every 6 months and every 3 months they are reviewing the plan, adjusting and moving forward. Yeah. Okay. So this is how organizations are doing planning. Yeah. Marketing planning is about the corporate strategy, the corporate plan is getting boils down to different department, as I explained earlier, and marketing department is getting the goals, right? It could be as I explained, improve market share, create awareness, right? Do a merger or acquisitions, right? Something like that, right? So there are different marketing objectives that marketing department has to achieve, right? So for marketing department to achieve the set goals, department has to plan for it. Yeah. Yeah. Has to plan for it. Yeah. It's like this, right? So you are doing a plan, so you're planning to Sharon was planning, wanted to, migrate or go to a different, territory or geography to expand his career. So you're planning, right? So I want to go there. For me to get there, right? So I have to do A, B, C, D. I have to fulfill these requirements, right? So you would have done a bit of a situational analysis. Where are you at the moment, right? So I'm in Sri Lanka. I got this experience. Is it enough for me to get there? What I want, right? So, planning is something like that. You have a sort of, end destinations goal that you want to achieve, and you, uh, evaluate where are you currently, right? Then for you to, get there, what you desire, what are the key actions that you are going to fulfill, right? What are the key actions that you are going to initiate, right, for you to, get to the desired destinations is what we call the planning. Yeah. All right. So you can stop me, if you have any clarifications, you can, either raise your hands or put a message so I can stop, right? Okay. So let's, try to explore a little bit more about planning and what are the concepts that we are, using in a planning cycle. Yeah. So what is marketing planning? Yeah, this is a bit of a dialogue, right? So for you to, understand it better. Okay, so let's read through. Our new business strategy is, okay, so that's the CEO. Right? CEO wants to start the meeting, right? So setting the context and then he's trying to explain the strategy, right? Then another person stops in, right? Hold on. I made a list of all of our strategies for the past 5 years, right? So for the past 5 years, there are a lot of strategies, right? He has made a list, right? There have been 17 of them. So there are such 17 strategies they have already, discussed and listed down or implemented during last 5 years. Just imagine what, type of organization this is, what kind of trouble that they would have gone through when trying to formulate all these strategies and when trying to implement those strategies. Not that easy, right? What does that mean, or what does that tell us? That I am not afraid of change, right? So the CEO, the smart guy, is saying okay, I have 17 strategies for last 5 years. That means I am not afraid of change. Yeah, I'm quite. I'm a guy like who's always trying to change things, right? So always trying to disrupt, right? So this is what I believe. So this is what CEOs telling. And what I've been working hard and I deserve a huge bonus, right? Because the guy is appreciating himself. He's saying like, so I've been, working really hard in this organization and, trying to do many different things, trying to, disrupt the organization time to time. And I deserve a huge bonus, right? And that I am kind and generous and good looking. It's a joke, right? So you have to give him a credit. The man know how to answer the rhetorical question, right? So it's a very difficult question, but he has answered it superbly well. Yeah, answered it superbly well. Of course, for that, we have to give him the credit. But so the moral of this story is like you will not be able to manage 17 strategies within 5 years. Too much change is also not good to organization. Yeah. We'll say like, if you want to implement one strategy, right, and get results, at least you'll have to wait for 1 year. 17 strategies, maybe at least if you implemented 2 strategies per year, maybe about like, 8, 9 years you would have spent, right? But here, what happened, like, 17 strategies. None of these strategies would have given him the return. Yeah. So this is a sort of, a bullshit, something like or a joke for any organizations, right? So this is not planning, right? This is not planning. So what is marketing planning? So marketing planning has a step-by-step process. Yeah. In a proper planning, there is a process which marketeers and the even corporate employees they are going through. Yeah. So let's try to understand that. Okay. So the first one is situational analysis, right? Where are you currently? What is your position in the marketplace? Yeah. So that is what we call situational analysis. You should know your strengths, your weaknesses. You should know what your customers are doing. You should know what your competitors are doing. You should know what how you have been collaborating with key stakeholders in your organization, right? So you need to do that with situational analysis, right? Or bit of audit that you need in the organization, right? So we will dive in, like understand more as to how you are going to do this situational analysis today. So I will take you through the key steps, right? Key areas that we are going to cover under marketing planning, right? So as I explained, like in Sharon's case, like he would have done the situational analysis, like where am I currently? Yeah. So even now you would have had your planning done. You have you have a sort of objective to achieve in your life, right? You want to progress in your career, be a head of a department or a CEO, or you want to set up your own business, right? But today, who am I? What am I? Right? And what are the strengths, weaknesses that I do have currently? Yeah. And what sort of resources that I have, what are the gaps that I have, right? So you would have evaluated yourself and decided, yes, I need to elevate myself. For that, like I want to acquire bit more knowledge, right? And also I need to add few more qualifications under my belt. Yeah, so this is why, like, you have already decided to, obtain a MBA. Yeah, right. So this is like, part of your planning, part of your strategic actions. You are doing your MBA. Yeah, because you had done already your marketing audit, right? Internal analysis and external analysis you would have already completed. Yeah. Once it is done, then you know the situations that you are in, your status, and next task is like, how or what I'm going to achieve, right? Your goal setting. You have to set goals like, for next 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, I'm going to set goals, right? So once the goals are set, next step is like, formulating strategies, right? So things won't come that easy. It's not, it's not given to you on a plate, right? So you have to earn for it. You have to do some actions, right? You have to do some actions, right? Impactful things for you to, achieve something. So move the needle, you have to do some actions, right? So for those actions are called strategies or tactics. There are two things, one strategy, the other one is tactics, right? And we learn those two things, right? So next step is like, you are planning, devising, or formulating your strategies. In your quest of, achieving your goal, what are the strategic actions you are going to initiate? Yeah. So those things like, in during your planning cycle, you discuss, agree, sign off. Yeah. Say have done your situation analysis brilliantly. There are no gaps in that analysis. You have, completed your goal setting brilliantly. It is, top class, goals, smart goals, achievable goals, right? You have set things nicely, and those goals are aligned with your corporate strategy, and also very clear. Like, the gaps that you have already identified in your marketing audit, right? If you fill those gaps, you will be able to achieve the set goals, right? So more realistic goals you have already set, right? And you have some brilliant people in your organizations. They got together and decided the strategies, right? Super brilliant strategies. But none of these things are valuable if you don't implement things, right? This is where most of the organizations suffer. This is where most of the organizations fail because they don't know how to execute things. They know how to plan things, like, planning. Even they can get support from AI today. Yeah, planning is the easiest thing, right? But execution, you can't rely on others, right? For executions, you can't ask AI to go and execute things. Like, it doesn't have that capability that. Yeah. So how you implement your strategies, very, very important in your marketing activities. When you are doing strategic marketing, if you don't know how to execute your strategies, I think you are going to be a failure. Yeah. So once you have, done the implementations, next step is monitoring, evaluations, and continuous improvement. Yeah. Meaning, so everything that you plan will not go according to the plan. Things are changing, right? And things are not getting executed as per the plan. There will be changes, right? So then you have to review things like, on a periodical basis, you have to review and understand what are the, deviations you see and how you are going to, take things back on track. Yeah. So this is why you need evaluations, monitoring, the control, and also uh, sort of, reviews, periodical reviews. Yeah. So this is the strategic marketing uh, planning process, right? Strategic business process or even marketing planning process. This is the normal process that each and every organizations go through whenever they are doing their planning cycle. Clear up to now? Any question, guys?
Uh, from my side, sir.
Yeah, right. Okay. So uh, let's talk about situation analysis, right? Right. So this I explained, like, in situational analysis, um, this is what you are trying to do. Where are you, where are you now? You are doing an audit to under assessments of your organizations, right? Objectives, where do you want to be? Missions, objectives, your competitive and corporate strategies, your segmentations, targeting, positioning. So these are like, where you are planning to go, right? Which way would be the best options, evaluations modeling, like, so you have, like, many different ways you are evaluating, which way is going to get you to the desired destinations, right? How do we get there? So what sort of, implementations, decisions, mixed decisions, right? Actions, tactics that you are going to implement, right? How do we get there? And then how do you ensure arrival? Action plans, change management, controls, the evaluations, all those things, right? So this is a very simple thing. By the look of it, it's very simple. However, in a practical environment, this is not that simple because you have to do a lot of things, right? You have to do a lot of things. You have to analyze things. You have to gather informations, do an audit, right? Not an easy task, right? Okay, so let's see how you are doing. All right. So there are two things in your situational analysis, right? One is internal analysis, the external analysis. There are two main things, right? In internal analysis, these are the some of the things that you would analyze. Yeah, there are many more analysis, many more models you can use, but uh, for this program, so I will only take you all through these models, right? But so if you want to further study, the strategic marketing management book that I recommend, you can go through that book. Like, there are many other analysis that you can consider, right? But this basically have covered everything that you want in an organization to analyze, for you to understand, like, the current situations that you are in. In internal analysis, you take on, or you rather take SWOT analysis, right? You do a SWOT analysis, right? I think this analysis you all know. Just tell me, like, if you don't know about SWOT analysis, I can explain, right? SWOT analysis, there are four keywords there: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So that is the SWOT analysis. We'll learn how to do a SWOT analysis. Then you are doing a marketing audit. Marketing audit. That is to understand where are you in terms of your marketing activities today, right? It could be like, whether your four Ps are aligned, Yeah. So marketing resources allocation is right. Are there any gaps in terms of your awareness? Are there any gaps in terms of consumer loyalty? Are there any gaps in terms of product offerings, right? Um, consumer, satisfaction level, right? Are there any gaps in terms of your brand equity parameters, right? So those are the kind of things that you do in a marketing audit, right? Then resource analysis. Any organization has set of resources, right? Even marketing organization has resources. It could be in terms of financial resources. It could be, other resources like, your, human capital, right? Human resources, right? And your systems, right? Or, whether you have a very good analytical system in the organization, right? Uh, that is also kind of resource, part of resource analysis. Value chain analysis. Another analysis that we undertake is value chain analysis. It is organization from the value, from the beginning to the end of the value chain, right? How you are faring, right? In your value creation process, whether you are creating right value or not, whether there are gaps, right? So that is what we call value chain analysis. You perform financial analysis, right? And the culture, the most important thing, cultural analysis. As I explained, implementations of your strategy is far, far important than anything else. But if you would don't implement things properly if you don't have the right culture in the organization. So you need to understand your culture. You need to understand gaps in your culture. Yeah, it's a big thing in an organization, right? Okay, right. So internal SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is a strategic planning tool used to identify and evaluate the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to a business or project. This analysis helps organizations understand their internal capabilities and external environment, enabling them to make informed decisions and develop effective strategies. Right. Okay. So let's try to understand this little bit by taking an example. Right. We'll take an example, then you would realize or you would understand as to how you carry out a SWOT analysis for any organization. Right. Right. Okay. We'll take the same example we have taken yesterday, Ceylon Discuss Limited. Right. Hope uh, you all know about this company. Right. Uh, what are the strengths? Right. Can you all tell me what are the strengths that CBL has? So we can take you take a global company also if you want, but since you both know about this company, so let's talk about it. What are the strengths that CBL has? So let's try to understand. Strength is more internal, right? Financial ability is a strength, right? CBL is a well-established organization in Sri Lanka, right? It has the financial ability, right? Meaning if you really want to invest to a new project, it has the capacity to invest, right? And it's a deep-rooted organization in Sri Lanka, meaning every household in Sri Lanka know about this organization, right? So it's rooted. It has a good value system, right? So that's a strength, right? Third thing is it has well-known brands, right? Powerful brands is a very good strength to have for any organization, right? And you know employees, right? As you know, long-standing employees, talented set of employees is a strength, right? So if you have very good research and development facility, right, team in the organization is a plus point. It's a strength, right? So CBL has a very good research and development department, right? And research and development culture in the organization, right? So these are the strengths and their distribution network, very powerful distribution network. Yeah. So if any new company wants to, set up a new distribution system in Sri Lanka, it's not that easy, right? It's not that easy, right? So, however, this organization has a very well established distribution network. Yeah? And the stakeholders, right? Kind of stakeholders the organization has a strength. Yeah. So these are the strengths of any organization, or rather, like, in that case, CBL, these are the strengths. Yeah. Weaknesses. Okay. Now you are going to tell me, like, what would have been the weaknesses of CBL as per your understanding. Yeah, price could be a weakness, right? So compared to competitors in the marketplace, their prices would have been high. Yeah, yes, definitely. What else? Probably the capacity limitation, right? Yeah, that could be a weakness. Correct. What else? Yeah, what else, guys? Culture of the organization could be a weakness. Yeah, the organization, yes, it's like family oriented business. Yeah. The corporate culture maybe is not suiting to the global the modern environment, right? So the hierarchical culture, right? Decision making is like is limited, is always challenged, right? Is more like you know the agility is not there, right? Speed to market, because it's a big organization. Even though you have very good system structures, like speed is very much low, right? You don't have that agility. It's a weakness. Yeah, right. Okay. So the opportunities. What are the opportunities? Opportunities to increase the product brand awareness. Very good, right? What else? Very good. Like, so has opportunities to expand the business into other markets, right? You have to, make sure your footprint in other markets, right? So that's an opportunity. What are the other opportunities? Yeah, so there could be an opportunity to merge, maybe like international organization, right? Yes, correct. Variety, right? Yeah. What are the other opportunities? Because this part is very important. When you know about the opportunities that you have, that will help your organizations to devise strategies or formulate strategies, because you have an objective of growing the business, right? So what are the other opportunities? Probably it may be a weakness, right? It could also be an opportunity, like probably your presence in the supermarkets may be very low, right? Even though you have a very good distribution network, shelf space that you have achieved, right? is not enough, adequate, right? So that could be a weakness, right? Yeah, you are right. What else? There could be an opportunity. There could be opportunities to reduce cost. Don't you think so? Right? Because these organizations, like very large in scale. Yeah. So when you have the scale advantage, you can easily reduce the per unit cost, right? Because you have an economies of scale, right? So that could also be an opportunity, right? So there could be opportunities to integrate advanced technology. Yeah? So likewise, when you are doing your internal analysis, your simple analysis like SWOT analysis, you have to do it seriously, right? You have to take things into considerations and do this analysis thoroughly. Yeah. So let's try to understand the threats. What are the threats these organizations would have? Yeah, so the obvious threat is like no competition, right? Since this is a low involvement product, right? I'll explain these things, guys. Like low involvement product, meaning like when consumers are trying to make a decisions, they are not, they don't gather many informations, right? Whenever you want to, go buy a packet of cream cracker, you're not going to ask people like, what you should buy, right? You're not going to do a research, right? Uh, you know, those things, of course, you're not going to do, right? So therefore, this is a low involvement product. So for a low involvement product, there is a huge threat coming from the new entrants, right? Meaning at any point in time, like, new people come into the market. It's a threat. Yeah. What are the other threats? Global supply chain threats, no? Because the changes happening in the global environment is posing a lot of threats to organizations, right? So it's a threat. Yeah. So today, like, it says like when people who have a very good supply chain network are the winners, right? It's not about demand generation, it's about how you will manage your supply chain, right? If it is smooth, you are a winner. Yeah. Yeah, increasing raw material
Yeah.
cost. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, increasing the exchange rate, right? Increasing, the raw material cost is going to pose a lot of, threats, right? And if you take like, the employees, like, so the best talented employees are migrating. That is posing a lot of threats to this organization, right? So we need to understand, identify what are the biggest threats that would have an impact to the organization, the immediate term, mid-term, and long term. Yeah. So that is why this analysis is so much important. Yeah. This analysis is important equally to individuals as well, right? Even for you, you can do your sort of analysis and see to yourself, like, what are the key, uh, right, threats that you have, what are the key opportunities you have, right? So all those things, you can determine to yourself, like, how am I, or what are my gaps, right? Okay. So now I have understood, like, about this, like, how you are going to do a SWOT analysis. What I want you to do is, select an organizer, or maybe the organization that you are working currently. Yeah. Consider that, right? Do a SWOT analysis for that organization. And so the next one is the model This is an internal analysis model, right? This is called VRIO and VRIN model, right? Rio and RIN model, right? V is silent, Rio and RIN model. This is also for you to understand your internal environment. Yeah, you can do this analysis. Yeah. The first V is the value. Does the resource add value, right? Does the resource add value? Meaning, you have a lot of resources currently in place, right? You have spent a lot of money um, in developing these resources, right? Then you have to, analyze and see, like, each of these resources, like, is it adding value, right? Does this resource add value, right? If any resources which is there in the organization is not adding value, I think keeping those resources is a waste, is totally a waste, right? You don't want to keep those resources, right? Yeah. So next one is what? Rarity, right? Is it rare? What? In your organization, is there something which is very rare? It could be like, human capital. Yeah. It's rare. You won't be able to find in Sri Lanka. It could be the technology that you have, right? Could be the technology that you have. Is it rare in your organization? Is it like, rare to the industry, right? What is the rate of rarity? Yeah, so that is what important, right? So if you take like, certain ingredients that you use for your productions, if it is rare, so that means like, people can't copy things that easy, right? People can't copy things that easy because it's very rare. Yeah. So you have to protect those kind of things, right? So it's really adding value, those kind of resources. But on the other hand, if there is something very rare, will also pose some threats. Will also pose some threats because it's rare for you, it's rare for everyone else, right? If you don't, right? If you don't get that resources, how you are going to continue your production? Yeah, so that's the rarity. Yeah. So the next one is I, that is imitability. Is it hard to imitate or is it easy to imitate? Right? The product that you have, the brand that you have, or maybe the service that you do, is it imitable? Right? If it is imitable, I think there is no any advantage. If it is imitable, there is no any advantage. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for you to achieve a competitive advantage, right, versus your competition, I think your product has to be differentiated. It needs to have a bit of differentiation than the competition, right? So how imitable your offering is, right? How imitable your offering is what you should know, right? Then the O is the organization. Is the firm organized to exploit it? So meaning that your organization, how have you been organized? How have you been, structured, right? Um, is it like, you have all the sort of, ingredients, right? Ingredients in place in your organizations to explore things, right? Yeah. So internally, if you have a linear structure in the organization, faster decision making, and you are organized yourself to explore this, right? So that is what we call, the organization. Yeah. So the next one is S. N is non-substitutability, right? Non-substitutability, right? Okay. So that is all about, is there any substitute products? Is there any substitute brands, right? Whether if you vacate yourself in the market, like, is there a substitute product, right? We'll say if there is no substitute products, meaning like, no, you are the only player, right? No substitute products, and you have the advantage. Yeah. Okay. So this is the next internal analysis model that is called Rio and Rin model. Yeah. This will help you to understand your competitiveness, your competitive advantage in the organization, your competitive advantage, right? Okay, right. Third one is marketing audits, right? So marketing audits, in marketing audit, what we do, we try to understand what are the issues and what are the opportunities, right? Even in your SWOT analysis, you are identifying the opportunities, right? But in marketing audit, here you are trying to identify the issues and opportunities in the market, right? In the market. What are the issues and opportunities that you have in the market? Okay. So, for example, there could be an issue in the marketplace, like, you are not servicing, or maybe like, issue of like, you have not um, achieved the fullest distributions, right? They have not achieved the fullest distribution, right? There are gaps in distribution. That is an issue for an organization, right? There could be issues like, you are continuously getting what? Product complaints. You are continuously getting product complaints. So there is an issue about your product complaints, about your product quality, right? So that is what we call the issues, right? And the opportunities, right? There could be like opportunities for you in the marketplace. As you very rightly mentioned, I think Sanjeevani, like uh, probably increase your varieties, right? Give more opportunities or options for consumers, right? Increase your varieties, right? It could be an opportunity for you, right? So likewise, in terms of marketing, what are the opportunities? You can also consider your marketing mix, right? Are there opportunities for like product improvement? Are there opportunities in terms of distributions? Are there opportunities in terms of promotions? Are there opportunities for you to either take the prices up or take the prices down? So those are the audits that you carry out in terms of marketing audit. Resource analysis in any organization, like there are two types of resources: tangible resources and intangible resources. Tangible resources are all those physical resources you get in your organization. It could be like system, it could be like building, it could be like vehicles, right? All these are tangible resources. Yeah. And also your brand is a tangible resource, like it could also be intangible, like so here I'm referring about the logos and those kind of things, like those are tangible resources, right? So in internal analysis, you see, okay, whether these resources are adding value, as I explained in the previous module, right? Rin and Rio model, like, whether your resources are adding value. Do you have any obsolete resources, right? There could be resources like, just probably like, not adding at all any value or just lying there, right? So I think like, we have to make decisions on those resources. Then intangible resources. So the culture is an intangible resource, right? Knowledge in the organization is an intangible resource, right? The brand value of the organization is an intangible resource, right? So consumer perceptions about the organization, intangible resource, right? How are you faring against, like, how these intangible resources are giving you the value, right? So in internal analysis, marketing audit and resource analysis, so these are the things that you normally look at. Yeah. So the next internal analysis is value chain analysis, right? So I told you, there is a value creation process in the organization from the beginning to the end, right? You are creating value to consumers, right? Consumers are paying for the value, right? Not for anything else. Consumer is not seen the production process, right? Consumer has no preview to your operations, right? Consumers is only getting your product or the service, right? Yeah? But he or she believes that you have already added adequate values, right? So at the end of the day, the product or your offering, your service is fulfilling the consumer need. Yeah, so this is what marketing is all about. Yeah. In value chain analysis, you're trying to understand whether each of these steps in the value chain is adding value or not, right? If there are, value non-adding activities, you can, exclude. You can simply stop doing that, right? Or if there are certain activities which has the potential to add more values, then you can, improve them, right? So there is a model introduced, like, for us to do this value chain analysis properly. That is the model given here, right? As per this model, when we are trying to achieve value, well, in the value chain, there are two activities. One is primary activities, then the second one is supportive activities, right? In primary activities, there are few steps. One is inbound logistics, right? Second, operations. Third, outbound logistics. Then marketing and sales and the services, right? Supporting activities, firm infrastructure, human resources, technology, the finance, the procurement. So these are the supportive activities, right? When you have these two things, primary activities and supportive activities integrated properly, and you are generating ultimate value to the consumers. Yeah. So this is the beauty of this model, right? In any organization, it has inbound logistics, meaning like, the supply chain, right? Right. If it is a production organization, you have to, get your raw materials, like, sourced from different suppliers, right? It could be like, you are getting down from different markets, different countries, right? Or you are sourcing from a local supplier. However, for your productions, you are not getting, or you are not keeping huge stocks, right, in your warehouses. That is practically not possible. Yeah. So therefore, there has to be a proper process for you to get your raw materials, get your packaging materials, right? To your plant, right? To your manufacturing plant. Huh? So how you are managing this? Just imagine if you are not managing this, if you are not getting your raw materials, right, with right quality at every time, do you think that you are adding value? Do you think that you are maintaining the consistency, right? No, it's going to be very difficult. Imagine manufacturing organizations, the hassle that they are going through, right? For them to produce a product and has the same quality over and over again is going to be a tough task because so they are depending on raw material suppliers, right? The quality that raw material suppliers give. So supply chain network has to be firmed and properly integrated, right? So that is what we call inbound logistics, right? So when you are doing your value chain analysis, you have to see as a marketeer, right? Okay, is my value chain right? Am I getting a continuous supply from the supply A? Is my raw material the key ingredients in my production, in my product, um, is compliant to the manufacturing specification consistently? Yeah, we need to analyze these things, right? Then in terms of operations, so this is the manufacturing operations, right? Where you have the adequate machinery, the capacity, right? Do you have cutting edge technology? Because so you are competing with competitors, right? And you have an objective of doubling the business, so you have an objective of becoming number one, player in the market, right? How are you going to achieve all those things with old machineries, right? Rusty machineries, you will not be able to, do that. So then you have to, have cutting edge technology in your organization, right? In your operations, right? Is my, resources fully equipped, right? Do they have the up-to-date knowledge, right? Do they have the right skill set? Yeah, so this is what you need to analyze and see in my operations whether we have right set of resources. Then outbound logistics, which is once you have produced your product, you have the output, how are you going to manage your distribution? Yeah, how are you going to manage your distributions? Is it happening? Are there gaps, right? Do we have adequate number of lorries? Do we have adequate number of depots, right? If you are exporting to a country, so how you are managing the export, right? Is it um, you know, what is your freight forwarding mechanism? Yeah. Yeah, so all those things should be looked into when you are trying to evaluate or add value, right? If your outbound logistic is not agile, it's not speed enough, right? You are not creating value for your consumers, right? For example, if it is an online marketing company or an e-commerce company, right? You have to always consider your last mile, right? If you don't get things on time in full, I think you have eroded the value that you generated through marketing. Yeah. So your delivery and your promise, there is a huge gap. Yeah. The next one is marketing and sales. Yeah. So have you communicated your offerings to your target groups properly? Do they know about your differentiation? Right? Have they created a positive mental, emotional connections with the brand. Yeah. So that has to be, analyzed and identified whether there are any gaps, right? Marketing and the sales, right? Both, so whether you are doing whether your distribution is right, your servicing your consumers, right? Whether your sales organization is correct, right? So need to identify uh, each of these steps whether you are adding values, right? Then the services. This is after sales services, right? Once you have, sold your products to your consumers, what after sales services that you are giving? Any organization, be it FMCG, be it B2B, be it white good, right? Be it service organizations like insurance companies, right? How they are, giving the value to consumers after the sales is done. Yeah. So very much important, some of the organizations is not even considered in this step, right? Which is very bad. It's very bad market. Yeah. So you have to consider how you are going to make sure even after the sales, consumers are happy, right? So once the purchase is done, especially with high involvement products, consumers do have something called cognitive consonance, right? Which is a bit of, dissatisfactions, generally, they tend to generate themselves, mainly because people, after some time, they feel so the decisions they made is not right. They probably would have, spent more than the value it gives, right? So this is a general, feeling that consumers do get. So in that case, you have to, always give that service post, the purchase of the product. Then, so the consumers would think so this organization is continuously adding value. It's not that, they once sold, done and dusted. Nothing like that. So there's a continuations to value additions, and you feel connected and you are spreading the good word of mouth. Yeah, so these are the primary activities you need to take care of. You in your analysis you have to identify the gaps that are there in each of these activities, right? If there are gaps, you will have to note down, and the gaps, you need to prioritize what are the gaps that you are going to fill, right? Bridge, right? uh if there are major gaps, you can't continue your operation, so you have to immediately action out. Yeah. Then the supportive activities, right? So for you to properly run this value chain, add value to consumers continuously, there has to be supportive activities, from infrastructure. So there has to be infrastructure, right? There has to be good systems, good ERP, right? Good digitization agenda in the organization. There has to be give good human capital, skilled people, right? Knowledge has to be there. Knowledge has to be retained. Knowledge has to be expanded, right, in your organization, right? If not, value creations will be come to a standstill, right? Yeah. Okay. Technology development, yes, you can't, just get rid of. It's one of the priorities for any organization today in today's environment, the technology and the development that you are going to do, then the procurement. Yeah. So you have to, do a thorough analysis to understand the gaps in the value chain. Yeah. So we are still in the situation analysis, right? So we are trying to understand, what are the areas that we need improvement, what are the opportunities that we have in the marketplace, and what are the strengths we have, in our organizations, right? So I'm not going to talk about this. What are the benefits of the value chain analysis? You can read through, get a bit of, understanding, the knowledge about the benefits of the value chain, right? Um, I explain some of the benefits, right? But there are many benefits that you can, of course, obtain by doing this value change, right? Okay, right. So, any questions? All right. So we have done financial analysis, value chain analysis up to that, and then we have two more things: financial analysis and cultural analysis, right? Uh, tasks. Yesterday we discussed one, right? And the second one is like, no, you need to do a SWOT analysis for your organization, right? Uh, take your organizations, try to, put your brain to the analysis and, put it to one slide. That's enough. More than, don't go beyond that. Yeah. And the third thing is like, go through the lecture material thoroughly, right? So there are about, I think close to about 40 slides, right? Go through them thoroughly, right? Try to, understand things. And also, if you have any queries, the questions, note down. Yeah, so that's what is expected from you during next week. Yeah, so I'm not going to give difficult tasks. I know that you guys are working, right? You have other works also, but try to spend maybe half an hour, and go through this, and try to understand things. Yeah, right. Okay, right. Okay, guys. All the best.